fucking crazy. Listen, hi, something's not right. I'm sorry, I'm mentally retarded. Slim Shady, I think that's my name. Ruckus Records, fucking crazy. Do you hear us? We're fucking crazy. All of us. Hi. Bye. 9 something.
Good morning, Copers. Good morning, guys. What up? How are you doing? It is Monday, November 3rd. And it's my birthday this month for anyone who cares. That's still a few weeks away, but it do be my birthday month. And Christmas is right around the corner. I can't wait. Halloween is, of course, behind us. Do you guys have a good Halloween weekend? The story of the day on Twitter was blackface. People did a lot of blackface. The 90s used to be so cool energy. You know, it's funny. So I'm doing Eminem week. Somebody said, is it Wigger week? I'm afraid it's much worse than that. It's Eminem week all week. And you know, I played Purple Pills on Saturday, and then Any Man, the song we just listened to, I remember as being like one of my favorite Eminem songs of all time, from Sound Bombing 2 on Raucous Records, which is like, I remember as being like a really good album, the whole album. And both of those songs...
The Orthodoxer sent $3. Church girl said she'd go out with me, but we haven't narrowed down the date yet. Guess I gotta turn in my white card.
No.
Disavow me.
Broken branch, ancestor cry. What have we done? What have we done, chat? No, I'm just joking, man. Cool. Congratulations. You know... Yeah, sure. She said yes, but she probably won't enjoy the date. She probably won't have a second date. We're going to be like 6 months from now, we're going to be like, okay, sure, she agreed to marry you, Orthodoxer, but she'll probably have cold feet at the altar. Okay, sure, she's pregnant with twins, Orthodoxer, but they'll probably look pretty white. You know, a year from now, we're going to be like, hey, man, sure, she's pregnant, but they're probably... Oh, shit. Nah, man, that's good. That's great. Thank you for cheering me up. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there's so much glorification of drug use in those songs, and I really liked Eminem when I was a teenager, and I did a lot of drugs. I've got to like connecting the dots. I'm like, man, I think I would have done drugs without Eminem, but it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt having like one of my favorite celebrity musicians talk about how cool it was to do drugs all the time. That's right, Sound Bombing. I feel like listening to that whole album. Should we skip the show and just listen to Sound Bombing too, you guys? This guy, Quarter Black Garrett, he really committed, I think, more than the women. The women, of course, who did blackface on Halloween got way more attention. Oh, also, before I get into this, I want, you know, Cozy is working again, apparently, and so is Rumble, which I'm thankful for that. Rumble didn't work last night for YCSP for no reason. No, and I tried everything to fix it. So infuriating, man. Spend like my whole Sunday. It's like I go to church, I get home at like 10:30 a.m. and then I spend like from 10:30 a.m. to like literally yesterday, because it was like a 3-hour show. I was working till like 5. I think I got it all up and ready at like by like 5:15, which is like 30 minutes before it goes live, because it goes live at 5:45. Like spend the whole day, and then it doesn't work on Rumble, which is the platform where like 75% of the audience. I was seething last night, and I'm still kind of seething. And Cozy wasn't working, but I guess we're back. We're so back, Patriots. Everything's working again, so at least we have that. So he does this. He gets 3 million impressions on his tweet. By the way, he's not actually doing blackface. He's just going as Jimmy Kimmel for Halloween. That's why he has the suit on. He's going as I think Jimmy Kimmel went quite this hard in the paint, but we'll give it to him. And then the ladies who didn't try so hard, but they went super viral. So we have Lily. She did a stream in blackface. Just kind of did the old school throw on. How do you do it? Shoe polish? That's how we used to do it back in my day. Throw on a little shoe polish. I did blackface for Halloween in a sense when I was in high school. I went as Drizzt Do'Urden, the drow elf from R.A. Salvatore. You guys know Drizzt? I always said Drizzt. But the spelling's kind of ambiguous. Some people say like Drizzt and shit like that. I went as Drizzt. I had my 2 scimitars. I had chainmail that I made myself out of cut up pop cans. If you cut a pop can or just a aluminum can, and then you cut like it was like scale mail. That's what it wasn't. Chainmail. It was scale mail. I made scale mail armor with cut up aluminum cans. It was pretty dope, not gonna lie. And I put shoe polish all over my face to be a black elf. Yeah, I'm a dark elf, not a racist. So yeah, like I was doing it in high school. I was doing it before it was cool, man. I was doing it back in the 90s. I did not have a panther. That would have been pretty cool if I brought a real life panther with me to school on a leash. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me. Okay, so she does her stream in blackface, and on Twitter, it got 30 million impressions with 5 million views on the stream, which is like really good by Twitter standards. Those views are not worth much. It's not like getting 5 million views on YouTube, but still, it's exceptional numbers for a Twitter live stream. So very funny, good stuff. We love our e-girls, don't we, folks? Don't we love our e-girls? I do kind of, you know what I mean? I'm glad that they're out here doing this shit. I'm not saying it like really matters in the grand scheme of things, but it's funny. And our e-girls are pretty, you know? So I don't know. I kind of like it. Brittany Venti also went super viral. She said when the EBT hit, posing with some fried chicken, and she got 86 million views on her tweet, 86 million impressions. This guy says, I know the vibes don't indicate as much right now, especially on social media, but this stuff will end up biting the conservative movement in the ass. History students a couple decades from now are going to see images like this and think, how in the actual fuck? Yeah, these guys still think they're on the right side of history, right? Like people aren't going to be looking at the pictures of men breastfeeding kids and think that that's actually fucked up. No, it's Halloween costumes is what history students are going to be shocked about down the road. Actually, anybody with a sense of humor looks at this and just laughs. When does this become cringe? Basically never. Basically never. It's Halloween, man. You guys need to chill out. Like, just have fun. Why do you complain? It's okay, sure. A couple girls in blackface is funny, but when does it become cringe, guys? How about you stop fucking worrying about when everything sucks and just chill the fuck out? Oh, I knew I wasn't going to get through the show today without. I'm just in a bad mood, and I'm trying because if I can conquer my bad moods, it's like I'm my own worst enemy. You know what I mean? If I can just like get through it, but it's so hard. It's so hard when you're surrounded by whiny fucks. All right, breathe, LP. Just breathe. Oh, at least I got my kick spam bots to chase you guys off my screen for me. Yeah, but speaking of Britney being half black, a lot of people were kind of saying this, like, you know, she's literally black. Milo, she's black. I don't like that. I don't like that. The idea, you know, people think about what you're saying. You know, I know it's funny, like, oh, he doesn't know she's black. He like, she's allowed to do it because she's black, you idiot. You fucked up. You didn't know she's allowed. If she was white, then it would be a problem. If she was white, then you would have a reason to be angry. But she's black, so you can't be mad at her.
$5. What is AF? Why haven't the Jews proclaimed the Growers a terrorist organization? Isn't Steve Bannon a proud Christian Zionist and America First founding father? Who doesn't see this as a Trojan horse for harsher anti-Semitic laws?
What are you talking about, dude? What? America First is a Trojan horse for harsher anti-Semitic laws. You know what? Think about this. If an anti-Semitic movement gets big, then it's just a Trojan horse to pass it. So just, hey, I have an idea. Maybe if nobody is ever anti-Semitic, they won't pass anti-Semitism laws, guys. I have a brilliant fucking idea. Maybe we should start attacking everyone who's anti-Semitic and bully them until they stop being anti-Semitic. And then they can never pass anti-Semitism laws. I am very smart. I have a plan to make it so that there's never any anti-Semitism laws. And my plan involves completely crushing all forms of anti-Semitism in the womb. My plan involves killing anti-Semitism in the womb so they can never pass laws to stop us from doing it. Good Lord, man. Thank you for the $5, though. Yeah. And speaking of SNAP funding, Trump has promised to make it happen, with some sources saying it could come as soon as Wednesday. Currently, there is no SNAP. For example, SNAP funds are halted for 2 million Illinoisans. But they're saying they're going to get it back up and running on Wednesday. A judge ordered Trump that he has to fund it. Hey, did you know you have a constitutional obligation to feed blacks that refuse to work, basically, which is like a huge portion of EBT. I know people like to say, like, actually there's more white people on welfare or whatever. Well, disproportionately, a huge number of welfare recipients are blacks who simply refuse to get a job. And you are obligated under the American Constitution to feed them.
Some people who are coming here for the first time, some who have been coming here to be able to get a little bit of extra help with their grocery budget.
At this Denver area distribution site, hundreds of people are getting free food today. It's a way of stretching their budgets during the government shutdown and the temporary pause on SNAP benefits.
When you run out of food...
You're on Snap, Cringe Panda? You really make me feel bad knowing that you're on my locals or whatever for $5 a month. Or actually, did you cancel? Actually, no, never mind. You canceled. You know what? Fuck you, Cringe. I'm glad you're poor. Kidding.
Money and you're maxed out with the...
You should. If you haven't canceled, you should, is what I'm trying to say. I don't need the $5 that badly, although I do appreciate it.
House and the utilities and insurance and paying for gas, and you got to take it all out of your disability, and when you ain't got no food money, you have to find places to get food. You only get a little bit of money on your disability, and you have to spend it on groceries, which are supposed to be covered by SNAP, so that cuts into your gas and utility bills, and gotta
They found the one white guy to interview
cut somewhere
so that you would empathize.
and they don't really seem to care.
I don't mind helping guys like this. It's the black dudes on TikTok who are like, "That's right, Whitey, get back to work. I'm your boss. You pay for my shit." There was plenty of these videos in YCSP last night. If you were one of the 100 people who saw the episode.
A lot of people who receive SNAP benefits, they are able to use those within the first couple of weeks in the month. By the second half of the month, that is when
Even if a lot of those white, vets on disability are probably capable of working, I still don't mind that much. Get on SNAP.
they see that their benefits.
I don't need welfare, but I shouldn't have to pay taxes on my tips. That's all I want. All I want is to not have to pay income tax. Is that too much to ask? On my, on tips. I'm a service provider. I get tipped for my service, and I shouldn't have to pay taxes on that. If a waiter doesn't have to pay taxes, then neither should I have to.
Are running out, so they are coming to food pantries.
Standing while a percent $20. You're not allowed to feed animals in state parks because they'll become too dependent on the handouts. Lazy people that generationally refuse to work are somehow different.
Curious.
Soul Divider sent $3. Here's a simpler question. What is AF in Mensa terms? Ha.
First of all, thank you for the $20 standing. And yes, very curious. Very curious. What is AF? I don't know, man. To me, Nick is like a streamer. He's a pundit, and that's basically all he is. Maybe someday he'll be more than that, but as far as I'm concerned, he's just another streamer who has a lot of fans. But he's a big streamer, so he has more influence culturally. I don't know what am I supposed to say? America First is it's a federal operation to Trojan horse in anti-Semitism laws. Is that what you want to hear? We shut the fuck up now? What is it? What is it? It's a good question, actually. What is it? Because okay, so you have Nick the streamer, and then you have the American First Foundation. But what do they actually do? Is it just is it some kind of charity scheme to pay less taxes? What do they actually do? I don't know. It's actually, you know what? It's a good question. I don't know. University of Pennsylvania was hacked, and this email was sent out to their mailing list that read, "The University of Pennsylvania is a dogshit elitist institution full of woke retards. We have terrible security practices and are completely unmeritocratic. We hire and admit morons because we love legacies, donors, and unqualified affirmative action admits. We love breaking federal laws like FERPA. All your data will be leaked, and Supreme Court rulings like SFFA. Please stop giving us money." Warm regards. Was it Niggy? Was this Niggy? Where's Niggy? It could just be some disgruntled employee. Like people like to say it was hacked, but it's yes, it's hacked. Like somebody knew the email password, Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how growing up we had movies like Hackers and stuff like that, where it was hackers are these young, cool radicals who are gonna fight against the government and like tyrannical, oppressive, fascist regimes or whatever. And then in real life, hackers are just like white dudes who are trying to not get discriminated against. Like in real life, hackers are just racist white dudes. And I mean that in the best possible way. Okay, there was a mass stabbing in the UK on a train, like a metro type train on Saturday. 10 people were stabbed. They initially arrested 2 people, but they ended up letting one go and charging the other.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Superintendent John Lovelace, and I'm here to provide you with an update on the incident at Huntington Station that took place here last night. It's a shocking incident, and first and foremost, my thoughts are with the family and friends of those who've been affected and those who are injured. At approximately 7:42 p.m. yesterday evening, there were calls to the police service in relation to multiple stabbings which took place on board a train service that departed Doncaster at 6:25 p.m. and was en route to London King's Cross Station. Officers immediately attended Huntington Station alongside paramedics, where armed police officers from Cambridgeshire Police boarded the train and arrested 2 people. Within 8 minutes of the 999 call being made, 2 men were brought into police custody, where they remain this morning. I can tell you that these are the first male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national.
So I mentioned this the other day when we were looking at there was a BBC article where they said Afghan man stabbed, that's dog walker who got murdered in the park, and the BBC, they said Afghan man. You hear there, he said black. He said the race of the guy. This is showing like the small cultural steps where they're like, you know what, if we intentionally constantly try to downplay and hide the race of the attacker, then we're going to get called out for that. We're going to get attacked. They're going to say we're hiding it on purpose. So we've bullied them over years to the point where they will at least finally say he is black.
Police custody, where they remain this morning. I can tell you that these are the first male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national of Caribbean descent. They were both arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Both were born in the United Kingdom. As stated, they remain this morning in separate police stations for questioning. 10 people.
Yeah, they're doing it so they don't get accused of being like complicitly trying to hide it. But that's why, you know, that's still a win. That's why bullying works. Early and often.
Were taken to hospital by ambulance, and another person self-presented later that evening. While 9 were initially believed to have life-threatening injuries, following assessment and treatment, 4, thankful to say, have been discharged.
Okay. Bushra Shaikh says, British born, not Muslim, not immigrants, not terrorism, all homegrown violence. Well, look, if you're not white, you're a foreigner, though, because England is a white country. So they are immigrants in that sense. Homegrown. This homegrown thing, it's like they want to blame the victims. It's a form of victim blaming when they do that shit. They say homegrown. This is your fault, England. Take that, white racists. This is hilarious. The swordjacking guys. We're born in Britain.
I hate nigger music sent $10. Hey LP, there's a cute Jewish girl at my church with giant Khazari milkers, looking like 2 Mount Sinai's pushed together. Her nose looks kind of Lebanese, but has a sharper hook you could catch fish with. Should I ask her out?
Hey, man. What's the worst that could happen? She'll probably say no anyway. Oh, thank you for that. They were both Africans. Shabana Mahmood, UK MP, says, I'm deeply saddened, and then blah, blah, blah. And then she says, I urge people to avoid comment and speculation at this early stage. Like, okay, yes, another black person murdered or tried to murder a bunch of white people, presumably. We don't actually ever get to know the race of the victims, which again, now we have to start bullying them on that, by the way. I want to always, okay, you want to protect the identity of the victims? Sure. The victims shouldn't be doxxed against their will. But I want to know their races. It's time to stop pretending like that piece of information isn't just as relevant as the races of the suspects and the criminals. Telling the public not to comment on a mass casualty attack on a public train is outrageous. Laura Loomer says, let me guess, Allahu Akbar. Is his name also Jihad? No, turns out just a black guy, apparently. Just an angry black guy. 10 people being stabbed on a train, and all they can think of is spreading their hatred and racism minutes after people have been taken to hospital in critical conditions. The only reason this country has gone to shit is people like you. Well, no, actually, because if UK was collectively racist, this never would have happened. Which is why I'm in pro-racism for white people, and it has to be collective racism, okay? Me just being racist on my own isn't good enough. I need you to also be racist. I need everyone to be racist so that I don't have to wake up every day and read stories about white people getting murdered by non-whites. That's the dream. That's the goal. So, some would say it's a noble goal. People who haven't been completely fucking brainwashed to hate themselves and to feel some sense of ancestral guilt would say that actually, like, not wanting to see your own people murdered by foreigners is a good goal to have. Is his ethnicity important? This from the LBC. LBC straight 10 people killed. What should I say about this? It's so funny looking at the UK media and the UK pundits, including like the right-wing pundits, because nobody, whether it's Tommy Robinson or these LBC liberals or whoever, none of them are going to like talk about the only thing that matters, which is that you shouldn't have black people killing white people as a regular occurrence in England.
LP, my mom is still a 2016 conservative but seems to be entirely unaware of the JQ and is agnostic towards Israel. Should I open the door to antisemitism for her?
It's really hard with boomers, man. It's really hard. You can like crime pill them on black people without too much effort and stuff like that. The JQ one is really hard. I'm not sure what is like the method to even do that. I guess if I was gonna try, I would try to start with like the greatest hits, like try to show them 9/11, JFK, USS Liberty, Epstein, etc. But it's probably not even worth trying not to black pill but it's probably not. It's so hard. It's so hard because the way they've been trained to think is like, you don't make generalizations. You know what I mean? Anyway, but again, you can do it with black people. You can kind of get through with black people because it's so visceral when you see these stories of people getting stabbed to death every day. That can actually break through the boomer brainwashing about generalizations. But it's so much harder with Jews. Anyway, in the UK media, they say these are the topics. Number one topic is what difference does his race make? It's funny because Morgoth brought this up like a long time ago, the whole hatchling thing, where it's like you're pretending like you don't even know why that would matter. When obviously the reason it matters is because this is a recurring pattern we see day in and day out, which is why they freak out when you talk about it, because the pattern's so obvious that the solution is very simple. So there's a very simple solution to this problem, but it's much harder to get to the solution if you're not allowed to even notice the pattern to begin with. So that's like number one topic. What difference does his race make? Number two is like knife crime is out of control, which is funny because knives have existed in Britain for, I mean, what, a few thousand years? How long have they had knives in Britain? Hey, Grok, like what, a few thousand years? But there wasn't a problem with knife violence until yeah, I mean, that's maybe. What is a good place to start? It's so hard, man. One thing I like to get in when I'm trying to like red pill people on race early, one thing I like to do to establish a good starting point is show them the studies about stereotypes and how stereotypes are true. You know what I mean? And so you show them that, you establish that stereotypes throughout human history exist because of the behavior of the groups who are being stereotyped. And then you just say, and there's a lot of negative stereotypes about Jews out there. Isn't that interesting? And let them connect the dots between those two pieces of information. You know what I mean? That's like a good place to start. There's so much out there. There's so much. That's the problem. Where do you start? So the knives have been there forever, but what has...
Jake_tongues have sent $5 on Rumble. My mother is a younger boomer and I tried to explain the differences between the races. She wouldn't hear any of it.
Yeah, thank you. Is the Rumble chat not working, by the way? I just noticed that because and now I'm seeing there's nobody talking in Rumble. So much for everything working. I woke up today being like everything's working, but the Rumble chat is not working. Well, guess that's life. The other day it was YouTube not working and Rumble. I don't know. It's always something. Thank you for the $5. Oh, the Mary Fagan Descendant? No, I haven't watched that. No, I haven't. Did it just happen? Somebody send me the link so I can like bookmark it or something. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Thanks for the $5 though. The people of the UK changed. The country got demographically changed to not just be super duper white, and that's where the knife violence started. So you figure it out, guys. You do the math. And there's like one more angle. Let's see. So they'd say, what does his race matter? The problem with knife crime, and then What's the third one? I can't remember. Maybe it'll come up.
What were we like before our brains were collectively boiled by events, whether it is the madness of some relatively recent political decisions or the proliferation of unregulated online propaganda and misinformation? How 10 years ago would we have reported or responded to the horrific events on that train coming out of Peterborough at the weekend? And remember, charges have now been brought, so we can talk about quite correctly very, very few aspects of that now developing case. And we have to talk about suspects until convictions are secured, or suspects singular. And anybody who doesn't understand that is probably listening to the wrong radio programme, but will no doubt be able to avail themselves of all manner of misinformation and prejudice fueling fury online. And I don't know the answer. I'd like to think that the heroism of one of the members of staff would have been even more prominent. I honestly don't know. Who does know?
What was the hero's
I'd like
race?
to think that this man who...
Just out of curiosity, what was the hero's race? He has to be white, because if he wasn't, this story would be blasted everywhere. There was like one time where some slightly swarthy guy did something slightly heroic in one of these situations, and his picture was like plastered everywhere for like a week. Twitter was like all these violent, this great man, because you know what I mean? You remember that?
Acted in...
it happened like one time.
Incredibly quick thinking, the driver indeed of the train.
I wish I was talking to this guy. I wish I was sitting across from him and he's like, why do people care about the race when they could be talking about this? And I just would instantly be like, yeah, what race was the hero? out of curiosity, what race was the hero while we're not talking about race?
A Royal Navy operative became a train driver in 2018. It was him that asked for the diversion to Huntingdon so that passengers could get off the train and police could arrest the knife man, the alleged knife man. And you think perhaps that would be the main headline rather than a little insert in the story 10 years ago? But of course, that is not how it works. A lot of the coverage today, once the details have been established, move immediately to the various claims and counterclaims about how the police handle the ethnicity.
That's it. That's the third thing. And that's the right-wing talking point, which is that the police should have prevented this, that the police are incompetent and the police fumbled. If you're right-wing in the UK, because you can't talk about how blacks shouldn't be in the UK stabbing, and you're sick of seeing the same pattern, and it's time to do something about it. It's time to reclaim like a sort of racial homogeneous identity for the country. Because you can't talk about that, you say like, oh, the police should have caught this guy earlier. They fucked up. Look at all the warning signs that were there. And just blame the police for being incompetent.
Of suspects in major incidents. That's extraordinary, isn't it, when you just pause for a moment to think about it. Police forced to disclose to battle far-right speculation is one headline, and police should have released...
That's what I was talking... Police forced to disclose. This is exactly what I was talking about. We've bullied them over years and years of hard work to where now they'll just say, yes, he was black. Okay, fine. He was black. Are you happy? I'll be happy when this stops happening, but that's not going to, until we get some kind of hardcore segregation.
Nationalities of suspects.
And also, I want to know the race of all the victims. I want a detailed demographic breakdown of the victims. Races, ages. I want to know all that. Hair color.
Far quicker, says Chris Philp, I mean, there is a lot of competition, but to become the most ridiculous conservative in the country is clearly a mission that Chris Philp has set himself. The police should have released identity details by now, as they said should happen, and as happened in other recent cases. How, I mean, and inevitably Farage pops up. We need to know who committed these awful attacks as soon as possible. To which one response, I think, would be why? So that people can be encouraged to go and set fire to asylum seeker hotels again, full of people that had absolutely nothing to do with any of these events. Why?
You said it, mate. You said it, mate.
Because it will hopefully fulfill my deep and abiding hatred of foreigners or immigrants or asylum seekers. Well, what if it turns out to be someone who is none of those things? As, of course, was the case in Southport, when people did set fire to buildings full of people who had absolutely nothing to do.
Okay, Paul. Okay, so Southport, just so you know, I'm 98% sure I've got this right, was the Rutabaga guy, the freaky zombie-looking guy whose parents were from Rwanda, who stabbed 3 girls, and then they made Netflix Adolescence and made him a white kid. Stabbed 3 children, thank you. And people thought it was a migrant, and so they went and I don't think they even burned down, but they were like protesting outside. And he's like, ha, 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 you got it wrong that time. I mean, he was black. The problem is you think there's a meaningful distinction between migrant and foreigner and black and British born and, legal versus illegal, asylum seeker versus migrant. You know what I mean? There's only one distinction. It's white and non-white. And the reason it matters is because the pattern is undeniable, And the British people are sort of like, in a way, they're like the poster children for civility, in a way. Like they sort of set the bar for like what it is to be a civilized white man, with their mild-mannered, tea drinking. They're very like, they have like good vocabularies. So you have these people who are like they're like the hobbits in the Shire in a way. And then you have like a fucking orc come in and stab a bunch of people, and it happens like every other day. And so you hear about a stabbing and you're like, oh, let me guess, is it another orc? Is it another orc stabbing the hobbits? And this guy's like, oh, well, so you can validate your anti-orc bigotry?
With the atrocity. Why do you want to know? Has anyone actually stopped to wonder that? Because what we do know is that police are being forced effectively to disclose the ethnicity of suspects precisely because people like Philp and Farage want to make something of it. But one thing I've noted...
Hypocrite sent $3 stereo did he was born on the magic soil. Checkmate racists.
Yeah, exactly. Ha ha ha. How could you blame this on his race when he was born on the magic soil of England? Yeah. And again, so I'm glad we bullied that. Now I want to know who the victims are, because that's part of the pattern that they're still suppressing. And you should demand to know, because it's your people who are getting stabbed. If you have a fucking ounce, if there's one fucking sliver of ethnic pride left in you, you should care that your people are getting stabbed by people that you've shown hospitality to. That's the thing too. What is that in Game of Thrones? And this is like a cultural thing that doesn't just come from that, but they talk about it in that, how it's like, if you Or no, I'm getting it backwards. It's if you kill somebody who's a guest under your roof. But it does go both ways, right? If somebody's a guest under your roof and they kill you, that's like a terrible crime. That's a two-way street. You shouldn't kill people you've shown hospitality to, but they shouldn't kill you either. Like, it just makes it worse either way.
Is that when people turn out to be British, as was the case in Southport and as appears to have been the case over the weekend, when suspects turn out to be British, it doesn't actually change anything.
Right, so they're British. Got you. Checkmate. The guy who stabbed 10 people, he's British. Boom. What now, racists? Well, he's also black, so there is that. You're British national. Mom, I want to go to England and visit the British national. We have British nationals at home. We have British nationals at home. The suspected perpetrator is named Anthony Williams and is 32 years old from Peterborough. No known terror motives. He did not shout Allahu Akbar and is not a migrant. Checkmate. You left out one thing. One thing you left out, though. One little thing you did leave out. He blick.
Soul Divider sent $3. Why doesn't Britain arm its white citizens? A simple solution to this migrant problem. Interesting principles for a government. Deadly also.
Well, again, yes, that would be a pretty simple solution. Arm the men. Arm the upstanding white men of good character, the free white men of good character. But of course, you can't have racial discrimination. So they would never do that. They would never be like, oh, we're going to arm our citizens, but only the white ones to keep the peace. That would fix the problem, but it would be racist. That would be a racist solution. Have you guys seen that meme going around Twitter where it's like the easy switch? There's a really simple switch you can flip to fix the problem, but nobody has the courage to flip the switch. That's because all the solutions involve racism in some way, shape, or form. Running around in the bar? No, I don't. I think so this guy, and this is why they're saying the police failed. The day before, he stabbed a 14-year-old kid. Race not disclosed. And then after that, he went into a barber shop and waved a knife around and freaked everybody out. And they called the police, but again, the police didn't catch him or whatever. Where's the video? Excuse me. Anthony Williams was caught on camera pacing outside the barbershop Friday night soon after he allegedly knifed a 14-year-old boy in a separate attack. What race was the boy? Chilling moment. Knife man bursts into barber's minutes after boy 14 stabbed in linked incident before Huntington. Little nip. Little nip to get my head right. Little nip of the lean. Sipping on that lean. What happened? Did they give him a haircut that he didn't want to pay for? There's some kind of story here that it's exactly something like that. Like he didn't want to pay for the haircut, but they made him pay, and so he comes back thinking he's just gonna murder them all. Because these guys are all black, so it was some kind of personal. Yeah, I told you, motherfucker. I told you don't fuck with me. I told you, yeah, you ain't so tough now, huh? Got my knife. But he doesn't try to kill them. Instead he's like, I'm gonna go find a train full of white people to stab. Turkish, whatever. They're all nons. All I see is like that Matrix. I don't see the green lines. All I see is woman, whatever. I'm like, I don't see ethnic. All I see is white and non. That's like all I see anymore. So what's the story with this 14-year-old kid that he stabbed? Are we going to get any details on that one? No? Nobody wants to talk about that? Minutes earlier, a 14-year-old boy was stabbed in the town center, requiring hospital treatment. All 3 knife incidents are believed to be linked to the Huntington suspect. There's like no details. It's like a 14-year-old boy was stabbed in city center. Anything else? Can you tell me anything else about it? No. Teenager was taken to the hospital with minor injuries and later discharged. This lady said, I don't like having horrific events occur in my country every day. And then this guy DM'd her and said, you are a racist. I mean, that says it all right there, doesn't it? Yes, I am. If this is how low the bar is, people are like, why do you call yourself a racist, LP? That's such a stigmatized term. You want to know why I call myself a racist? Because I don't like having horrific events occur in my country every day. That's why.
Scrub sent $3. People are just waiting for the signal at this point.
Proud Zionist, by the way. One nation conservative, proud of our achievements and history, but not Brexit and austerity. Proud Zionist. You are a racist. Why are we not stronger on knife crime?
Good morning, Jeremy.
Anybody of any political persuasion will look at what's happened on Saturday and just be appalled. It's a heinous crime, and of course all the questions will start coming. Why are we not, and I'm not laying this entirely at the Labour Party, I'll lay it at your lot, starting with Theresa May. Why are we not stronger on knife crime? Why don't we, maybe I'm a madman, why don't we say if you're found with a knife, you're going to jail for that period and you're not being let out? Why do we not say, I'm not bothered about upsetting certain people, we are going to stop and search at will, and if that helps us get knives off the street and stop situations like that, surely that makes sense, Chris Philp.
Yeah, well, I agree. And I said essentially what you just said at our party conference just a few weeks ago. We need way more stop and search, because stop and search does take knives off the street. One of the most eminent criminologists, Professor Lawrence Sherman, said that if we returned stop and search...
It's even more. It's, you know what? You can even improve the effectiveness of stop and search by orders of magnitude by not stopping middle-class white businessmen in suits to pretend like you're not profiling. You know what I mean? You can stop and search could be super effective if you just profile the fuck out of who you stop and search.
Levels to the 2011 levels, it would prevent 30% of knife-enabled homicides, which is something like about 80 per year. There's about 250 in total. I think in the high crime hotspot areas where crime is most prevalent, the 5% hotspot areas where a quarter of all crime takes place, the police should do general stop and search of anyone, even if they have no grounds for suspicion. And outside of those hotspots, it should be a lot easier to do stop and search.
Right, general. You should, every time somebody walks by, you should just roll a die. And if it lands on 3, you stop and search them. Don't use any kind of profiling. What if we just went after people wearing hoodies? That's racist. What if we went after mostly young men in their 20s and 30s and late teens? That's racist.
Because it will get, as I say, as you said and as I've said, it takes knives off the street. Now, some left-wing politicians like Sadiq Khan and others complain about stop and search. They say that the black community gets disproportionately stopped and searched. But when you measure stop and search not against the total population but against the offending population, the disproportionality disappears. And if you look at the success rate of stop and search, the percent of stop and searches where a knife or drugs are found, which in London is about 30%, they find something, that figure within a percent or two is the same across all ethnic groups. And if the police were unfairly picking on one particular group, then those figures would be different. They're not different,
listen,
they're about the same. I said in my we need to triple stop and search is what we need to do.
Breaking news which you might not be aware of, but as the Sherlock Holmes Secretary probably will very soon, Anthony Williams has just been named, 32-year-old from Peterborough. He's just been charged with 10 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of actual bodily harm and 1 count of the possession of a bladed article following this knife attack on that train in Cambridge on Saturday. British Transport...
Anyway... we got a few more migrant crime stories, so we may as well get through them while we're on the topic here.
Here come the vibrant migrants, like water from a fire hydrant.
Very sad to hear about your Sil. I had dreams of hooking my based friend up with who I thought would be your very based Sil. Not only is she not based, but she's married. Good grief.
Yeah, I had mentioned my wife has 2 sisters, and they're both older than her. But the oldest one was the one who's single, but she's not single anymore, and she's probably going to get married. And I had mentioned a while ago she was single, but it's like she was 30 at the time, and she has a kid. So, and she's not super based either, to be honest. She's not quite the same level of shit lib. She's more like apolitical, apathetic, but she is cool. You know, I'm glad she's found someone. Anyway, do I know any good? Okay. I'm gonna give you guys a hot tip, and this is especially if you're Catholic. There's a girl I've known for like years. She made me a fan sign back in the fan sign era, but it was, you know, she just like wrote it on a piece of paper. It wasn't like what's the word? It wasn't lewd in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't spicy, but she's very pretty and she's Catholic and she's like itching to get married. She is Portuguese. Okay, this girl, Rita, South Europa, if you're Catholic, you should shoot your shot, because this is like good wife material right here. And I always see her tweeting about how she's trying to find a husband. The world was better when white dudes had garage bands instead of podcasts. Shots fired. Thank you, Papa Nurgle, for the $5. Appreciate that. Looks Mexican. Well, she's Portuguese, you know. She's very pretty. Anyway, you guys interrupted my jingle, but I won't play it again here. Thank you for for the support. Asylum seeker jailed for sex attack on woman. An asylum seeker launched a sex attack on a woman, has been jailed for more than 3 years. Wow, harsh penalties. Fawaz Osaluma, 33, strangled and sexually assaulted her under a bridge. She was walking home from a night out in the city center in the early mornings when she noticed the 33-year-old following her. Al-Samu, originally from Syria, admitted sexual assault and strangulation, and the judge at Newport Crown Court said it was a horrible attack and warned him it was highly likely he would be deported at the end of his sentence. Oi, mate, you better watch it. I've got half a mind to send you back where you came from after your 3 years. Dude attacks a woman walking home at night, strangles her and rapes her. That should be a death penalty. $5. Thank you, Cat Respector. That I would give the death penalty for crimes like this. Okay, not all rapes would a little bit of date rape, a little bit of he said, she said. That's different.
$5, so you were saying there's a chance.
Thank you, real Ubermensch. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd have to be Catholic to get with Rita, but I really feel strongly that she would be a very good wife. It's like if anybody took me up on that, you'd be thanking me. You'd be naming your kid. You'd be naming your firstborn son LP. It's how grateful you would be. Yeah, sending him back to Syria would be a better punishment than just even putting him in jail for 3 years. Where he's gonna spend 3 years in jail forcing white people to convert to Islam. I can barely sleep and I have nightmares relating to it. I'm working to get over it, but this isn't something you can just recover from. She did not return to work for 3 months because of the anxiety of being in public. The time I had to have off work caused additional stress in my life. Kidnap rape hell of woman abducted by Afghan man and his 3 friends, beaten and used as sex slave for a week and forced to have her tormentor's name tattooed across her stomach. This one was published on October 30th. A young woman who was kidnapped and used as a sex slave by an Afghan man and his 3 friends was forced to have her tormentor's name tattooed across her stomach. In 2023, the then 21-year-old was kidnapped, gagged, and raped for several days by her ex-boyfriend, a 33-year-old Afghan man named locally as Jaser A. They don't even give you the identities of the perps in a lot of these cases. Again, this should be death penalty for him and his friends. Just an execution. Hanging. It doesn't have to be cruel and unusual. We could just hang them. Jaser reportedly met up with the victim before holding a knife to her throat as his 3 friends emerged and ambushed her. The 4 men then forced the young woman into a tattoo parlor where she claimed she was made to have her ex-boyfriend's nickname Elias tattooed on her stomach in large cursive lettering. After getting the tattoo, the victim said she was taken back to her apartment where she was abused and raped continuously by Jaser. He repeatedly hit, bit, and kicked me and filmed me, gagged and half naked. The ordeal lasted 7 days until a SWAT team stormed her apartment and rescued her from her captors. I was lucky enough to get my phone back and contact my parents. Is there anybody who disagrees that this should be like a death penalty kind of offense? A week of torture, rape, and kidnapping and gang raping? German court orders Afghan who killed toddler in knife attack into care, October 30th, 2025. German judge ordered an Afghan national to be sent into psychiatric care after he fatally stabbed 2 people, including a toddler, 9 months ago in an attack that shocked the country. The man, identified as Enemula O, killed a German man and a 2-year-old in January as he attacked a kindergarten group in the western city of Aschaffenburg. Killed a 2-year-old. He's now been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and deemed not criminally responsible. He'll be taken into psychiatric care. Mohamed Samek, ex-international hockey player who claimed his wife stabbed herself to death, jailed for her murder. Friday, October 31st. Mohamed Samek jailed for the wicked murder of his wife, with the judge saying he shows no remorse.
Andrew Wilson be like the women voted for this. This is your brain on the red pill, sir.
Oh boy, the old red pill. Yeah, I don't know. I think you can always play the blame game. You know what I mean? Women voted. Well, who gave women the vote? Men did. You know what I mean? The blame game is a waste of time. What we need to do is just fix the problem. So repeal the 19th, kick out the nons, protect the women from themselves. Problem solved. Mohamed Samak, 43, stabbed Joan Samak, 49, 6 times at their home. But his wife was white, by the way.
Area Lubermensch sent $5. I would just like to take a moment to thank the Jews for bringing all of this beautiful multiculturalism to Europe. Without it, Europe surely wouldn't have survived.
That's so true. We never would have. Who would have picked the fruit? Honestly, I love Jews. Nobody's above Jews. He stabbed her 6 times, and then he told the police that she stabbed herself. Nobody does that. Nobody kills themselves. Look at this guy, spear chucker. Some dude angry, probably, that I banned him on some other account. Dude, it's not even coming up. Maybe he's already blocked. That shouldn't work that way, though. Anyway. Nobody stabs themselves 6 times as a way of committing suicide. He was found guilty after a retrial during which police found new evidence of hidden bloodstained clothing. A jury at an earlier trial had failed to reach a verdict. Prosecutors told the court Samak had killed his wife, a successful interior designer, because he was suffering financial problems and had become interested in another woman. He believed his wife, who was the main breadwinner, would leave him after problems in their marriage. He was given a life sentence with a minimum 21-year prison term. The couple met in 2011 when Miss Samak went on a trip to Egypt. Samak was an employee at the hotel she stayed at and they conducted a long-distance relationship before marrying in 2014. Toll paid in full. Stupid woman. And in America, Roberta Areola, an illegal... I'm unbannable. Why isn't that chat showing up? Test. What's happening? Oh, it's on a different... Odyssey's on a different stream. Okay, there we go. Bad news. You're banned. Okay. Man. This old stream had $37 in Odyssey super chats. The old days before Odyssey took Stripe away. Well, Odyssey didn't do it. Stripe canceled Odyssey, but it stings. It stings looking back and seeing how much... I forgot, because I was making like $300 a month just in memberships, but I was making like lots in super chats too on Odyssey. Man, the good old days. Anyway. Roberta Areola, an illegal immigrant landlord in Western North Carolina, has just been arrested after beating one of his tenants to death with a baseball bat. The victim died protecting multiple women from Roberta.
The county, and Dave, witnesses say that the suspect is actually a landlord. They believe the person hit a tenant with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's what we're finding out here, Erica. We also learned from sheriff deputies that he was an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. We saw investigators back out here today searching that pickup truck that they say belonged to the suspect, looking for the baseball bat. The murder actually happened in the backyard on the other side of this home. I got a chance to talk with some folks inside. Sheriff deputies say it was a disorderly conduct call that led them to the home along Lucky Lane. But when they arrived shortly after 9 p.m., Jose Figueroa was badly injured in the yard after eyewitnesses say he was attacked by his landlord, Roberto Ariela, with a baseball bat.
Because he didn't deserve the death, especially how he died. He was trying to protect me and his woman at the time.
Deputies say they're...
He was trying to protect me and his women at the time. And that is a woman who appears to be white. Yeah, you can't back up. I don't know this website. This is a weird website. No full screen. No, no backing up on the video. Me and his women. So was he a pimp? There's something more going on to this story.
Still working to determine the motive behind the murder, but confirmed that Ariella was an undocumented immigrant from Mexico.
We are being informed that the defendant is in the country illegally, and we are working with Immigration's Customs Enforcement.
Area Lubermensch sent $3. Why is real estate so expensive? Who knows? Now to a story about an illegal immigrant landlord.
Yeah.
They say Figueroa died at the hospital overnight. Several people at the home today say Ariella, who also lived here, charged others to stay here with him.
Roberto, like she said, changed a lot.
Oh yeah, look at this. This is some extremely seedy situation. Meth and prostitution, and I think everybody involved should be arrested probably. Hey, please don't spam the chat. I know there's a bug, but that doesn't mean I won't ban you for spamming.
Like, he was very aggressive, and I never expected something like that, you know.
Brittany Farley says she still can't believe she witnessed the murder and what she says she saw immediately afterwards.
He swung really violently and then threw a gun on Jose to make it look like he had a weapon.
Jose.
And I asked sheriff deputies whether or not the suspect possibly...
Okay, that wasn't the actual guy. The actual haters, they very rarely will do an actual super chat to troll me. It's It's a bridge too far. Thank you for the $5, though. I'm not going to hit the... Well, I mean, so now I'm curious what voice you picked. It's just... it's annoying because if I hit the replay thing, then it adds an additional $5 to the goal. And I got to fix that. Does that work?
Spear Checker, 5,000 cent, $5. I'll be back. LP, you can
It's my
literally do
favorite.
nothing to stop me, and you better. Refine the super chat tutor. GXJJ, SRSTH, SR, TDS, SRFFGFH, IKJBB, KJBJH, KM, NBBNM, BDSLN, SK, KSGB, KJB, KB, KDB, KB, K, KBK, ESB, KBS, KBS, KBC, SSSSS.
Worth it. Worth it.
Planted a handgun on the victim in the yard here. Tonight, deputies are only
Planted the old planted gun on him and say it was self-defense.
ball bat and a firearm from the property here. Reporting live from Catawba County, I'm Dave Faraday, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, this whole site should be nuked from orbit. I can tell you, I guarantee you there was nothing good happening at this place. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the guy he killed will not be missed. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the world is probably a better place without the person that he murdered. Just a hunch. Thomas Massey has remarried. He says, Carolyn and I would like to announce our recent marriage. We were recently married in Kentucky on October 19th by the pastor of the church we've been attending for several months. And he writes mucho texto here, but this guy's wife died a year ago. Unexpected feel-good story of the day. I mean, whatever. I have no idea. I don't know the situation. It's a little weird to get remarried like the year after your wife died. But a lot of congratulations. I don't know, man. It's a little weird, isn't it? Is it just me? I'm not saying he should stay single forever, but married? Married already? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you know, look, man, who am I to judge? I don't know the situation. I'm not judging. But you could just date for a while. So you don't have to get married. Is it acceptable? What's the how soon is too soon? 12 if it's after 12 months, you're good to go. Well, it was 16 months. She died in like June of 2024. Whatever. They look happy. You know what? Good for him. As a general rule, people who had a happy marriage are quicker to remarry than people who didn't. That seems... I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Is it true men who are happily married for a long time tend to remarry quickly after the death of their spouse? This is well-supported finding in sociological and psychological research on widowhood and remarriage. Men who are in long-term happy marriages with their late spouses are particularly likely to seek and enter a new romantic partnerships relatively quickly. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. Desire to replace happiness and structure, etc. Congratulations to Thomas Massey. And that brings us to everybody's favorite segment. It's time for some Blacktivities.
Yo, it's the Blacktivities. What's the activities? Only the factivities. Catch you activities. Cope.
Olympic hopeful allegedly stabbed Uber driver to death because she felt cooped up.
A former Olympic hopeful is accused of killing an Uber driver in southern Colorado. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says 38-year-old Jeremy Campbell's family reported him missing early Monday morning. Deputies found his car in an apartment parking lot with blood in the driver's seat, but no sign of Campbell. Uber gave deputies information showing 27-year-old Kayla Dawson was his last Uber rider. Dawson told deputies that she fell asleep in the car and awoke to Campbell trying to touch her, so she stabbed him. The car crashed into a field where Dawson was accused of dumping the driver's body, then driving away in his car. Dawson later told investigators she wanted to get some fresh air and go for a, quote, joyride.
Well, officer, it happened like this. I fell asleep in the car and woke up and he was trying to rape me, so I defended myself. And after that was all done, I did what anybody would do in that situation, which is dump the body and went for a joyride. I needed to go for a joyride, you know. I needed to blow off some steam after taking a life in self-defense.
Investigators determined Dawson deliberately killed Campbell with the intent of robbing him. She's scheduled to appear in court next Thursday. And according to our partners at KRDO, Dawson competed at the USA Olympic trials in Oregon in the shot put, but then ended up not making the team. Boulder County authorities say that
people wonder like what an 85 IQ looks like. It's thinking, I need some money. I know. Let me order an Uber and kill the driver and then take his money. There's so, and by the way, let me use my real name and face on my Uber account while I'm doing this.
Terrible, I've sent $5, Morty. I've modified my portal gun to automatically send whoever walks through it back to their country.
We must get these into the hands of every white man. Thank you, Jay Parabellum. I don't know why I didn't play the whole thing. First of all, your literal identity is tracked through the Uber app. So that's incredibly retarded. And then beyond that, how much money do you think a Uber driver has on them in cash? Probably not that much. Everything's paid through the app. It's just going to be like whatever random walking around money anybody would have. And like, I mean, if you could get his phone, you could maybe get into his, I probably, like, I know they try to do shit like that where they'll be like, unlock your phone so then they can like transfer money through your apps or get your credit cards or whatever, but it's just so dumb. It's just such a incredibly high risk, low reward, plus you have to kill someone. Is 6-7 explained, 1 million views. No, I will not click it. No, I will not. I don't care. I don't care about, I gotta know. No, I'm just joking. Meet Musab Ali from Pakistan. He's running for mayor of Jersey City. One of his campaign promises is to use tax dollars to help illegals fight deportation. Oh, finally somebody putting my tax dollars to good use. He also pledges to not cooperate with ICE. He calls himself the Black Zoran Mamdani. Endorsed by Ilan Omar. Cool. So we already have, Zoran isn't even elected yet, and we already have copycat politicians running. Blood everywhere. 18-year-old fatally stabbed by man leaving Walmart after he said the teen kicked his shopping cart. So I pulled up this one because none of them like show the image of the victim, but you can see here, this guy stabbed this teen to death. This 18-year-old dude outside a Walmart. because allegedly he kicked his shopping cart, which is a normal reaction. I'm sure that's true that he kicked it. That definitely happened. And it's a very normal reaction to murder somebody for doing that.
All new at 11, justice for JT.
Police arresting and charging a man with murder after last week's deadly stabbing at a Walmart on Whitmarsh Island. WJCL 22 News' Tia Maggio joining us live now from outside that store. And Tia, you spoke with the victim's family today.
Yeah, Greg. Well, it's been 1 week from today since 18-year-old JT Schroeder was stabbed multiple times at this Walmart on Highway 80 behind me. And tonight, the family is finally seeing...
This is, by the way, it's worth noting that this happened weeks ago. Okay, October 23rd, almost 2 weeks ago. I didn't hear about it. These stories happen all the time, and most of them fly under the radar.
Some justice. I was there the moment they learned an arrest had been made.
The suspect has been arrested, and he has been charged with felony murder.
Rightfully so.
Dude, this is heartbreaking. Look at this. They got the collage up there. Dude. Like, this hurts, man. This hurts, you know? This is why it has to stop. It has to stop. I'm so sick of seeing these stories, and I don't want to be on the news someday bawling because one of my kids got culturally enriched.
That might have just made my day.
An emotional father, hearing the words he's been waiting for. Police say 48-year-old Delano Middleton is now charged with murder in the deadly stabbing of JT Schroeder at a Walmart on Whitmarsh Island.
Got over there as fast as I could and saw blood everywhere. He was literally stabbed over 10 times until he finally bled out and died.
Investigators say the attack began after Schroeder kicked Middleton's shopping cart, but his father says that story doesn't add up.
My son was never, ever.
Hang on a second. My kid doesn't kick people's shopping carts. There's no way that happened. The fact that we have to, it's like, this is the new, he said the N-word, right? Hey, man, let's not overreact. Maybe he kicked the shopping cart. You don't kill people for kicking your shopping cart.
Confrontational unless he was confronted first.
Court records show Middleton has a violent past, including arrests for aggravated assault, battery, and weapon charges in 2021 and 2023. As for Schroeder, he has since been on life support. Dozens of his friends visit both him and his family every day, wearing clothes, stickers, and pictures in his honor.
There'll be nobody that can be like JT.
Thought he was dead. I hope he lives. Or no, stabbed to death. Ah, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. I was like, oh, maybe he'll make it.
So different, and you'll never. I don't think I'll ever meet anybody like him ever again.
He loved everyone, and like every single person in this room, he would die for them.
A circle of prayer as loved ones prepare to say goodbye.
We are all going to rally behind him, and we're just going to be there for him.
Long live JT.
I love you, JT.
JT Father tells me his son is an organ donor, and tomorrow he'll take his final walk of honor before donating his organs to give someone the gift of life. As for Middleton, we looked into court documents that shows that Middleton was actually on probation after pleading guilty to aggravated assault charges back in 2021, and we're still working to learn from the court on why a man with such a violent record was allowed to walk on the streets. Reporting live on
Yeah, it's so unusual. How could this have happened in America? We never let things like that happen. We believe in Somalia. This is a rally for a candidate in Columbus, Ohio.
Uplift one another. We are all here today uplifting one another because we believe in Somalia. We believe in unity. That's why we are here today. So to that I say, make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure that you are engaged for the next few months. I will need a lot of volunteers to help me knock doors, to continue to collect signatures, and I will need all of you to reach out.
How did you know I was Somalian? this fucking kid here. Bro, how did you know I was Somalian? Oh my God, we should import more of these people. Columbus, Ohio, by the way. We need more Somalians, you guys. I think we should just turn America into Somalia. Somalia is such an awesome country. Florida jury recommends death penalty for a man convicted of executing his 18-year-old pregnant girlfriend after she refused to have an abortion.
The jury finds the defendant guilty of first-degree murder.
Justice was finally served. What she did was brave regardless, right? She chose her child. At the end of the day, she was such a forgiving, funny girl, and we all miss her. It's not the same in her family. There's always something missing.
The jury finds the
You could hear the deep breaths taken in the courtroom by.
Look at this. Abortion health. So, on the story of the girl who got murdered because she refused to abort her kid, YouTube is like, hey man, want an abortion? Click here to learn how.
Kaylin Fiengo's friends and family as the verdict was read out loud after a trial that started over 2 weeks ago with jury selection. Donovan Faison was found guilty on all counts.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder.
An overwhelming moment of relief for Kaylin Fiengo's loved ones as the jury's verdict was announced.
We've been waiting a long time for this.
An emotional end, almost 3 years since Fiengo was found shot and killed in Sanford's Coastline Park. Investigators say Donovan Faison murdered her because she refused to terminate her pregnancy.
Were you supposed to meet up with her? No, I wasn't supposed to meet up with her. I was supposed to do nothing with her. We didn't have no conversation of meeting up, nothing.
During closing arguments Monday, prosecutors played body camera video of Faison's first interview with detectives.
Lie after lie after lie after lie. You can read it line after line.
And presented months of messages, including this exchange where they say Fiengo told Faison she was pregnant and his response was abortion. Faison's attorneys poked holes in the police investigation and argued he may have made mistakes, but he is not a murderer.
But at best, you have evidence of a man that's cheating, of a man that possibly didn't want to have another child. There's no evidence of him being in the car. There's no evidence of him coming around the front. There's no evidence of her reaching for a purse. There's no evidence of him pulling the trigger.
Prosecutors say the motive was undeniable, and after Faison's world fell apart when his girlfriend found out he had lied, cheated, and got another girl pregnant, he planned and executed Fiengo's murder.
The defendant thought about it. He devised the plan to kill an innocent victim. He carried out the plan in cold blood.
Fiengo's family says she will be missed and she will be remembered for choosing her child.
What she did was brave regardless, right? She chose her child at the end of the day.
Now that Faison has been found guilty, he could be sentenced to death. The judge ordered both the state attorneys and the defense attorneys to be back at this courthouse.
Hope to kill that nigga. Let's check the YouTube comments. As horrible as this is, bottom line is choice. Why does a man not have? Oh my God, this is MRAs, man. This is why I stopped identifying as an MRA like 1 year after I started, because people like this, people will be like, well, if the man was allowed to choose to opt out, he wouldn't, you know. Bro, Burn the coal, pay the toll. Why would a human girl let that get on top of her? Toll paid. All right. Moving on, we have the Heritage Foundation has been under a lot of heat after sticking up for Tucker Carlson after Tucker chose to interview Nick Fuentes. This video got put out a couple days ago. I didn't talk about it on like Friday because I don't care that much about the Heritage. Like it's kind of like these stuffy policy wonks in suits who, you know, it's kind of boring. But this has gotten so much like kvetching, like insane levels of kvetching from Jews in the wake of this video getting put out. So here, we'll watch the video first, and then we'll just look at a few of the reactions to it.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days, but today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left. As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interest of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
So, and hardly that controversial. Nick says, I don't know what exactly you abhor about my views, but we can all agree that free speech, Christ, and America first should be the pillars of our movement. Thank you for your courage in standing up for open discourse and defending Tucker against the Israel first woke right. So our guys are all like, yes, thank you, good job in the comments. Jews were not happy. Then he put out this massive long tweet, which I'm not going to read. This was October 31st, where he talks about what he abhors about Nick Fuentes. You know, he talks about Holocaust denial, conspiracy theories, et cetera, et cetera. The Jew, 6 million, the Holocaust, you get the idea. Fuentes called for the death penalty for perfidious Jews and other non-Christians, stating that when we take power, they need to be given the death penalty. Damn. You get the idea anyway. So he put out, it's like he's trying to please both sides, because now you see our guys being like, I'll summarize this. It says, I'm a fag, from Dan Bilzerian. Andrew Torba says, as you can see by the gnashing of teeth in the replies to this, no level of disavowal or explanation will appease them. You don't owe these people anything. They hate us and want us dead because they hated him and put him to death first. Your original statement was fine. So regardless of him like putting out this big like critique of Fuentes and why Fuentes is abhorrent, it was just like still nonstop complaining. Yoel Berry says, the response to this video has been telling. Disappointment from 3/4 of the mainstream conservative MAGA movement, and wild gleeful cheering and chants of "This is our movement now" from Groypers. Did Heritage intend this? Mark Goldfeder says, the National Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism, a project of Heritage, has done valuable work, but free speech includes the right to associate and not to. I cannot serve under someone who thinks Nazis are worth debating. Here is my resignation letter. So it's so funny. Heritage has funded this thing called the National Jewish Advocacy Center, the National Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism. And it's like, that's not good enough. The fact that you have like fund to the tunes of millions and millions of dollars, this NGO whose only purpose is to combat anti-Semitism, of which there are dozens of other NGOs that do the exact same thing as well, the ADL most notably, but others as well. And it's like, no, that's not good enough. You should have like thrown Tucker Carlson under the bus. When I agreed to join this effort is because I believe that combating anti-Semitism must remain a nonpartisan moral imperative, one that transcends politics, ideology, and institutional affiliation. The Jewish people have too often suffered when fighting hatred became a partisan sport. I hope that this initiative could model something better. And so on and so forth. The recent decision by Heritage leadership to defend and even celebrate Tucker Carlson's decision to platform Nick Fuentes, a figure whose record of overt racism, sexism, and anti-Semitism is beyond dispute, makes continued participation impossible. Josh Hammer says, Kevin Roberts is a friend and a good man who, for various reasons, did a dumb thing and released a terrible video. Under Kevin's leadership, the organization has done tremendous work combating anti-Semitism, among too many other things to count. The problem in this particular kerfuffle is the same problem now facing much of the right, a failure to recognize Tucker for what, tragically, he has become. See, they have to walk the line because Kevin Roberts is like a check signer. You know what I mean? Kevin Roberts decides where money goes. So they have to try. Some of them try to walk the line, you know, like Josh Hammer is like, I don't want to lose the money. Whereas the other guy's like, no, I'm taking the principled stance. I'm out. Dana Loesch. I got the sense that he wasn't fully aware of the things that were said in the interview before speaking with me. It's no excuse, but I wonder how his answers might have been different if this were the case. Cope. The interview was like completely whatever. It was kind of boring, frankly. I like the parts where they're like talking about porn and all that, but the hardcore like anti-Semites, the hardcores are like the type of guys who get angry if you talk about anything other than Jews. They're like, weed and porn, that's what you're talking about? That's so retarded, you know? Like, it's like everybody was kind of either like bored or Just like it was fine, but it wasn't really groundbreaking in any particular way. That's kind of how I felt. I enjoyed the last bit when they were talking about the cultural issues. Once we got through the Nick Fuentes life story that I've heard 27 times at this point. This is just massive cope. He keeps doubling down. If he can't find the moral clarity we've seen from others, he's going to bring down his organization. Kevin has contributed to the spread of anti-Semitism during the biggest outbreak of anti-Semitism maybe in American history on a national level. Nick Fuentes has now adopted identical language, calling Jewish critics of anti-Semitism venomous. Roberts did something unforgivable. He can be replaced. They love replacing people, don't they? Reminder, all denunciations of Kevin Roberts' heritage.
Area Lubermensch sent $3. Don't forget Heritage has Project Esther, a project for Jews named after the story in the Bible where Jews utilize palace intrigue to kill 75,510 people that they don't like.
Is that the PR campaign where they pay influencers? I didn't think that was through Heritage, but maybe this is something different. I don't know. Thanks for the $3. All denunciations of Kevin Roberts, Heritage, Tucker Carlson, or that young man nobody watches but pretends to be horrified about must be in by midnight tonight, or they will not count in best denunciation contest. Shrillest, purplest, fastest, most creative use of invective, etc., etc. The video is the most fair thing you will ever get. All right. Tim Dillon and dressed up as a Jew dressed up as an Orthodox Jew for Halloween with stacks of bagels on his desk. Tweeted by Steve Bannon here, talks about why young people are no longer accepting the constant waves of pro-Israel propaganda and just all the propaganda. He talks about why young people are sick of being propagandized constantly.
Being propagandized at a level that older people gladly accepted. It was normal. It was fine. Older people were okay with being propagandized as long as they got a few things out of it. The young people are getting nothing out of it. Wait, you're lying to us and I can't own a house? I can barely have a job? I have to be forced into the gig economy? I get to deliver burritos? And I have to...
Fishman sent $10 all together. What did my anti-Semitism ever do to these heaps? The chat's by.
Thank you for the $10. Appreciate the support, Jew Fishman. You know, yeah, forced into the gig economy, have to drive for Uber, and you know, if you don't accept rides from Olympic hopefuls, then you'll get fired for being racist. Hopefully you don't get stabbed.
Listen to this bullshit, and I have to pretend that this is all real, and I can't afford frozen yogurt with my girlfriend, and I have to go along with this horse shit, and I have nothing and no money for it. If you're doing something, you want to get something out of it. If you are going to delude yourself and believe the bullshit on the news, you have to get a little bit out of it. And what Americans got for many years was a patch of dirt, a little driveway, and a chance. They don't have any of that anymore. We've taken that all away from them. We've pushed them into a gig economy. We've pushed them into the hellscape of rent that goes up every single year. And the propaganda is actually getting worse. It's getting more disconnected from reality, more Orwellian. We're asking them to believe crazier and crazier things and taking away the little bit that most people had. People don't want to be billionaires. People want a house, a family, a little retirement plan, some money in the bank if there's an emergency. They want health care. They want some kind of steady job. They want a community with people that share their values. They're getting none of that right now. They're getting none of that.
True.
They're getting Kris Jenner's third head. Kris Jenner has a third head. And everybody's excited by it. People will tell you, the people that don't have any of those things will tell you that they like Kris Jenner's new head. Or they're excited that Taylor Swift, a billionaire, is going to marry Travis Kelce, the man who was birthed by Pfizer. And people have to live vicariously now through that. Why are the kids turning on the engines of propaganda? Number one, they're too smart. The technology is there. They know they're being lied to. Here's number two. You're taking all of the things away from them that this entire system was supposedly, purportedly set up to help them achieve. So if I'm a member of the ruling class, I'm going, what are we doing here? What exactly is happening? We're asking these people to believe this bullshit that Jeffrey Epstein's just like a weirdo rich guy. No one else did anything wrong. We don't have any of the files, and the videos aren't real. It's actually nothing. Nothing happened. Everything's fine. He never had any relationship with our intelligence agency or another intelligence agency. He had no relationships with anybody. Nobody did anything. He was just a weird rich guy. Don't worry about it. We're asking people to believe all of this stuff and telling them, and the reward for that, okay, is to deliver a Caesar salad to someone. That's the reward. Your job now is to deliver a Caesar salad. Not that it would have been right to buy the bullshit anyway, even if you had the things. But I'm just telling you how the country ran for 100 years. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying it was morally correct to go, I'll take the house and the car and you fucking kill everybody. I'm telling you that's how it worked. That's how the country ran forever.
Speaking of propaganda, I like to unwind after a long day of coping. I like to unwind with a little bit of Hollywood television. Do you guys know there's a new It show called Welcome to Derry based on the Stephen King horror clown? Let's watch a little.
Have you ever heard of something like that?
Your grandparents escaped Buchenwald. Their entire families murdered. The skin of Jewish prisoners used for lampshades.
What?
Lampshades.
Have you ever heard?
Lampshades. Lampshades. Dude. You can't, there's no good TV ever anywhere. A lot of black propaganda too. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm too busy watching The Nick, which is so, it's like a good show, but it's pure propaganda, the whole show. So I'm only like 3 episodes in at this point, but update on what's happening. The black genius doctor who everybody's racist to, they're hinting now that he is going to get into a romantic relationship with like the blonde do-gooder woman, that they have like feelings for each other, but she's supposed to marry some other guy she doesn't like. But really, she's in love with the black genius doctor. And then the nun, the Catholic nun who gives abortions, she got caught by the Irish ambulance driver who called her like a baby killer. But then the Irish ambulance driver got called to pick up a girl who was having a medical emergency, And it turns out that she had tried to give herself an abortion, and then she died on the operating table. And so now the Irish ambulance driver has realized that giving abortions is good, actually, because it saves lives. Lampshades. Wait, you're telling me the lampshade thing isn't real, the old one too? You're telling me that didn't actually happen, but they still just keep pushing it anyway? They wouldn't do that. And the backdrop of all of this shit that's been going on is there's this GOP like Jewish conference where all of your favorite right-wing politicians go up and give speeches about how bad anti-Semitism is. Randy Fine accuses Tucker Carlson of being the most dangerous anti-Semite in America, accuses him of not being MAGA.
But I'm here for the kids down here because it's easy to talk about anti-Semitism on the left. I want to talk about the dark force rising on our side. Multiple speakers have talked about the rise of anti-Semitism on the right. But it is not enough to speak in platitudes or generalities about the fight. We must call evil by its name. 5 years ago, if I was talking to my father, who's watching, hi Dad, if I was talking to my father,
hey, Vampire Frog, I have like a whole ass list of tasks for you, my friend. Kick, doubling up again. Rumble chat not working. And then also the AR thing on Odyssey, which I DM'd you about on Twitter. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, pal. Get right on that, please.
At 8:59 p.m. at night, he would say, Randy, I gotta go. Tucker Carlson's gonna be on. But
get to work, Wagey. Dude, it's so cheap too. The Vampire Frog like service, he charges like $4 a month or something like that. It's so cheap.
Today, Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous anti-Semite in America. He has chosen to take on the mantle of leader of a modern-day Hitler Youth, to broadcast and feature those who celebrate the Nazis, those who call for the extermination of Israel, to defend Hamas, to even criticize President Trump for stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions. Friends, make no mistake, Tucker is not MAGA. Tucker's fall from grace has been one of the most extraordinary implosions in political history. And the rapidity of it has created real challenges for us all.
All these Jews were like the original never Trumpers, you know what I mean? And now, typical Jew fashion, they want to claim MAGA for themselves and think they're going to decide who is and who isn't MAGA, which, by the way, who gives a shit about being MAGA at this point? Do any of you guys care?
Because our friends don't have our shared experience. I even deal with this with my colleagues in the House. See, they remember the Tucker of 5 years ago. They don't live with anti-Semitism every day. They don't think about it the way that we do. And it's
Republican Jewish coalition. It's not even just like that you can criticize every group of people, except it's like just the non-stop focus and reading about anti-Semitism. Like so much of our government's attention talking about anti-Semitism when there's such a tiny percentage of the population. Where's the Republican white coalition? Dude, if white people formed an actual coalition, Like if all white people got on board in the same way that all Jews are on board, and I know it's not literally 100% all, but you know what I mean? If white people treated being white in general the way that Jews treat being Jewish in general, we would be unstoppable. We would have everything, you guys. Everything you want. Big titty goth girlfriend, you name it.
Jarring for them to try to understand, how did this person become who he is today? But the challenge is he's inspired a movement of hate in our midst. And I'm not done calling people out.
Wandering Neanderthal sent $10. It's almost admirable that these people can behave in a manner that makes every other group they encounter despise them for thousands of years all over the globe and always unanimously come to the conclusion everyone else is the problem.
I know, that's just it. That's just it. And that's like, we were talking earlier about how to red pill older people on boomers, or sorry, on Jews. And when you start to pay attention to this, you know, a lot of like, to actually JQ people, it really just starts with planting seeds. Like that's how it happened with me, you know what I mean? Because people were always like, Jews, 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 Jews. And I was like, fuck, you people are annoying. Shut up. But the seed gets planted, and then you start to see things over. You start to see the patterns, you know what I mean? And one of the patterns you see all the time is like the way that all criticism, like including valid criticisms of poor behavior, abhorrent behavior, gets responded to with accusations of anti-Semitism. Right? That's one of those things where it's like, oh, that person was doing something really shitty. They got called out for it, and then they immediately started calling the people anti-Semites. You know, you see that, you're like, oh, I'm starting to get the game. Mark Levine to Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and all anti-Zionists. You think your stupid little podcast is going to change the world? Like hell it is.
And I just want...
Wasn't this guy like a radio guy at some... Who is this guy even? This is the guy my mother-in-law, was like, there's awesome Jews like Mark Levine. Lawyer, political commentator, radio personality. It's kind of weird for a radio guy to be like, oh, you think your podcast matters?
And I just want the anti-American.
You think your show matters? Do you have the Jewish media behind you? No, that's why it doesn't matter.
Anti-Israel, anti-West crowd to understand something. You're going to have to come through me and millions of people just like me, and you're not going to make it. You think your stupid little podcast, or your stupid little subscription program, or your little TV show, or maybe you have a little radio show, is going to change the world? Like hell it is. Not if I and everybody else have something to say about it.
Yeah, that is the guy who Nick said red-pilled him during the Tucker interview. Which, I mean, if my mother-in-law likes him, there must be something conservative about the guy. Apparently, Nick said the guy said something about, like, why is there so many immigrants? And that was what started Nick thinking about immigration. Which, was brought up because it was kind of ironic. The Jews are scrambling. Writing defines what the movement is about, intellectual base. Speech gives it a face and emotion, charismatic base. Mass media scales it across a nation, organizational base. So Nick got a Ted Cruz quote tweet here. Nick said, At the Republican Jewish Coalition, Ted Cruz says that he repeatedly begged Trump to bomb Iran for weeks. Don't let the 7K Club gaslight you into thinking that their attacks on Tucker Carlson and me are about anti-Semitism. This is about Israel losing control over America.
And then the single most important national security decision the president has made was the decision to launch the bombing raid on the Iran nuclear facilities. I can tell you I was on the phone with the president every single week urging him to do that, and I will tell you there are other voices within the administration and without who were telling him not to.
So Ted Cruz responds and he says, Trump's bombing the Ayatollah's nuclear facilities made the little Nazi mad. Good. It's interesting that this has 8 million views, but Nick's tweet only has 3 million views. Usually a very high percentage of quote tweet views trickle down to the, like, it's like usually like we're talking like 95%. So that's just kind of an interesting, I don't know what to make of it exactly, but it's not normal. 64,000 likes on Nick's tweet, 12,000 likes on Ted Cruz's tweet, with 5.4 thousand replies. Nicholas J. Fuentes isn't a conservative. The Black MAGA preacher is here to let you know that Fuentes is not a conservative.
Nick Fuentes is a modern day, he is preaching and spreading modern day Nazism. That's what this is. Of not the extreme form, right? They've been calling Republicans Nazis for years. But what he is speaking and what he is preaching is Nazism.
Might watch Fuentes later. It'll be interesting to see Fuentes address the whole CivNat thing that happened on Friday or Thursday or whenever that was.
Nazism was this belief.
Because he got a lot of pushback on that one.
In German supremacy. It was this belief that the German race was the most superior race. They didn't like black people. They didn't like, so all these people that are, some of these people that are different color skins that are white. I'm like, yeah, I know Germans don't like black people either. They hated Jews more than anything, but they didn't like black people, and they didn't like gays, and they didn't like anybody but those that.
Dude who learned history from Hollywood and, you know, maybe he watched a couple documentaries on the History Channel. And it's not even that what he's saying is necessarily exactly wrong. It's roughly correct. But, you know, it's like listening to this guy, like he's super well educated. He's going to tell you what's up.
It look like them. And that's what he preaches. That's what he spews. It's disgusting that Tucker Carlson. Now, I'm not one that calls people white supremacists. I'm not a liberal. I'm a black conservative. But I'm telling you what Nick Fuentes is. He's a man that said he loves Stalin. He's a man that said he loves Hitler. He's a man that has called black people inferior, said that we're not smarter than white people. Our DNA is corrupted. He has talked against interracial marriage, and all type of stuff. And it's funny that we have people trying to defend that, right? Because we know if you're defending that, you are racist. Because a person that has a Christian conscience can't hear that stuff and think it's a joke or think it's okay.
Wrong. That's where you're wrong, kiddo. Every American white Christian agreed with all. That's why it was illegal to get interracial married until literally like 1968 or something like that.
So yeah, I'm against it, and I'm gonna speak against it because we can't have something like that associated with conservatism. He's a Jew hater. He's a Nazi.
You know what I mean? You're just a progressive. You're not a conservative. You're a progressive. Like why would conservatism change that much in 60 years? How does it go from a conservative thinks interracial marriage should be illegal to if you just say it's not a good idea, you're an evil piece of shit and you're a Nazi. Maybe Nazis were the real conservatives all along. Yeah, conservatism. Okay, so Arvel tweeted out, several Jewish groups have called for my rural neighborhood to be destroyed, and I've never tried to do harm to a single Jew, but when I mention the fact that Jews are attacking us, I'm the anti-Semite. And then a little bit later, he tweeted out this, dear non-white people, if we whites are replaced in our homelands, it will just be you and the Jews. Judaism aims above all at the global influence of the Jewish people. They think God chose them over you. They will miss us you will miss us if we disappear. Warm regards, white people.
Area Lubermensch sent $3 in the same Fuentes stream as Sivnat. Nick said, I care a lot about the browning of America. A lot of people do. We don't want it to become Haiti or Somalia, etc.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the $3. Yeah, well, that's the problem with getting clipped. But still, that clip was bad. That clip in a vacuum, not great. Okay, and this is the point I was getting to earlier. Arvel says, I was one of the few people trying not to be anti-Semitic on the far right. Now you guys pushed me over the edge. Good job. If Jewish influence is going to be used to attack our ability to live in our own communities and continue our culture and people, then I have to be against Jewish influence. You can't be openly anti-white and expect us not to respond. I believe he meant. That's that Irish girl, Rebecca. One of us. Yeah, because this is what I was saying before. Because when Gabe Hoffman got Arvel banned from Patreon, that's exactly the kind of thing, right? So Arvel makes a community for white people. They say, what about Jews? He says, no, Jews aren't allowed. And then a Jew says, okay, I'm going to get you banned from Patreon. And Arvel is like, oh, now I'm actually anti. You just cost me $12,000 a year. Now I'm anti-Semitic now, right? You didn't have to do that. Gabe Hoffman made Arvel anti-Semitic. This company sells devices to meat manufacturers so they can add water weight to meats. So profitability guaranteed. Dude, the fucked up shit that they do to our food. Everything's pumped with water. There was a comment under here where somebody was saying, this one here. We buy bacon from a local butcher. It never pops or splatters us when we cook. We mentioned it, and they said it was because the big companies all add water, and that's what makes it splatter and pop. Yeah, so they do all this shit just to increase the weight so they can charge you more. Sometimes it's just saline, but sometimes it's not. You roll the dice with your food, man. Grok, is this real? This is a real and widespread practice in the meat industry. Processors inject poultry, pork, and beef with solutions of water, salts, phosphates, and binders to boost weight by 10 to 30%. Oh, the Rumble chat's back. James Lindsay and Tim Pool were going at it on Twitter the other day. You know, I had to touch on this one real quick.
James Lindsay so bright and wise, spreading thoughts that mesmerize. Let's see what he has to say today. Mr. Lindsay.
So Tim Pool replying to Konstantin Kissin, who says, a lot of people don't understand what's happening on the right. I wrote about this nearly 2 years ago. Tim Pool says, unfortunately for you, James Lindsay has done everything in his power to undermine what you wrote by making woke right mean literally every conservative ideology. It's become a meaningless term. And James Lindsay says, Tim Pool is one of them. If you hadn't figured this out yet, Marxists always lie. Phil Labonte says, for fuck's sake, Jim, Marxist? Come on. James Lindsay says, I can't tell anymore. I'll be real with you, man. I just am so fucking mind fucked. I don't even know what's what anymore. He certainly lies like one constantly in furtherance of Marxist aims. So let's see the Marxist aims tweet here. Here we go. The fake woke right shit is such fucking obvious woke shit. Assorting. We knew that already. James Lindsay is woke. He just tried pretending not to be, but is using the same tactics. So when James Lindsay calls you woke, it's in furtherance of liberalism. But if you call James Lindsay woke, it's Marxist. Hold on. So the problem is you can't get to the quote tweets. Because Tim Pool, I just remembered this, but he... Whatever. I guess we'll just move on. Or did they talk to Gavin? Tim's kind of he's kind of branching out a little bit, bringing on Fuentes, or he tried to. Gavin, he's kind of slightly uncucking himself. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Hugh Anthony, okay? We already took a look at this tweet the other day. Hugh Anthony said, I didn't want to do this, but sadly it has gotten to this point. My dad has just been arrested for assault against me, and I've been...
Soul Divider sent $3. Grow Hypers need to the Big L Fuentes will happily welcome a brown country. This fantasy land white supremacist Nick narrative is room temperature IQ. America first is not whites first. Please get that in your frog brain.
Groypers need to the Big L. They need to the Big L. Look, man, I don't know what is the point of doing that kind of infighting right now. It just seems like it just doesn't seem like the time for it at all. You can't make people stop watching the influencers they like by just like complaining about them. You know what I mean? It's not like it just doesn't work that way. You just gotta roll with it. The only way you can unseat Nick is to do better, which good luck. Good luck. If it was easy, I would do it. It's not easy. Anyway, Hugh Anthony says, I didn't want to do this, but sadly it has gotten to this point. My dad has just been arrested for assault against me, and I have been kicked out of my house because of my politics. If you can please spare any help, it'd be greatly appreciated. He links his PayPal here, and this has like 7 million impressions now. So we talked about this briefly already, but what update we have to the story is that there is now a video released of Hugh Anthony's parents confronting him and kicking him out of his house. I'm not sure exactly what the story is because this was posted by some guy who doesn't like Hugh Anthony, but it appears to be filmed by Hugh Anthony. So I'm not really sure where he got this video from, but anyway, let's take a look.
Do I know?
No.
Do I know?
What is wrong with you?
Do
Why
I-
are you assaulting me?
Do I not
Why are you
scare
assaulting me? Why are you assaulting me?
Shut the fuck up, you parasite. I have brought you up for fucking 20 years.
Let me leave.
What the fuck have you become?
Let me leave.
Ariel
What have you
Ubermensch sent $3. Hey Baco, I was already going to the Big L.
What is the Big L? Is that like a nightclub or something? Dude, this whole situation is so crazy, man. I looked up Hugh Anthony's age because I was curious. He's 23. And his dad just called him a parasite, which is like, look, man, it's hard. It's hard to, I don't want to sound like a boomer who's like, why are you still living at home? You know what I mean? Because I know how hard it is for young people now, and it's expensive and that. But it's also like, does he have a job? Does he have how much money does he make? You know what I mean? Like, I left home when I was 17. Again, I'm sorry to sound like a boomer here. I'm sorry to sound like I'm doing the bootstrap things, but I left home when I was 17, which I did intentionally to preempt getting kicked out because my dad kept telling me he was going to kick me out as soon as I turned 18. And I was like, I'm 17 and a half. Fuck you. I'm leaving now. And it was hard, but I got by. But also I had a drug problem. You know what I mean? Like, I had a drug problem. I was addicted to cigarettes and drugs and drinking and sex. And I still got by. So even, I know it's hard for young people now and everything's very expensive, but I just feel like if you just don't do the drug part, just live on your own, but don't have a drug problem, it's got to kind of even out. You know what I'm saying? It's got to kind of like, it's got to be doable. It's got to be doable. And I don't understand how you can be 23 years old living at home and your dad calling you a parasite and not feel like, you know, he's got a point a little bit. He's a little bit got a point.
I want you to leave. Jesus Christ, man.
Then let me walk out that door. Let me walk out that door. Let me walk out that door.
What?
Let me walk out that door.
Answer my question.
Nothing. I just want to preserve this nation. Do you not understand?
You will not win this war.
Yes, I will.
No, you won't.
I'm leaving this house.
I want you to leave. I don't want you to come back.
I'm leaving right now.
I want you to go right now.
I'm leaving right now.
Go.
Oh my God,
I'm
now
leaving.
he's filmed.
You will not win this war. The eternal boomer, man. It's kind of vague. It's kind of open to interpretation. Does he want to lose and be replaced, or does he just feel like it's hopeless?
No, I'm leaving.
Hugh, I have nothing to hide.
You're off to jail tonight, by the way. You just assaulted me.
Right, he's gleeful about how he's going to report his dad to the police too. And yes, it's worth noting that Hugh Anthony is a confessed homosexual. So, man, what a situation. I mean, other people noted this on Twitter, but I think it bears repeating. The dad was okay with the homosexuality. The dad was okay with his son being a butt pirate. His son getting buggered and not, you know, the end of the bloodline, the end of the lineage. His dad was okay with that, but his dad wasn't okay with him being like, I don't know, man, I kind of think England should be a white country. That was the bridge too far for the boomer dad, not the getting buggered part.
I want to leave. I want nothing to do with you.
Good luck. Off you go. Off you go. Don't come back.
Right. He draws the line at right-wing politics. Parents are definitely pissed up. Yeah, so he now has put out... He's put out a tweet elaborating some, and it's a long one, but I have to admit I'm invested in this drama. So let's see what he says here. Now that it has been a few days, I'm just going to make some clarifications for all the social warriors spreading false info. I didn't initiate any argument. I was playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, hence Steam being open. There must be more video out there that I haven't seen. To which my parents returned home drunk and began banging on my door wanting to talk. This is a common occurrence because they frequently shout at me about my politics, even though they don't watch my stuff nor want to know my actual opinions. I opened the door once I heard my mother crying, fake tears, to actually try and calm her down by granting her wish of opening the door. Dude, this whole situation. So you're a 23-year-old man and you're playing the Star Wars video game on your computer in your parents' house, and your parents are like banging on the door drunk, wanting to like chew you out for your political streams, and you're like, "Go, Mom, go away." Mom, Dad, not yet. I'm playing Star Wars. I'm playing Star Wars Battlefront. And then only when your mom starts crying are you like, okay, fine, I guess I'll open the door and talk to my parents. He makes it hard to side with him. You know, I respect his politics, I guess, and all that, but it's like, there's just like, the idea that you could be living under your parents' house and then like have them wanting to talk to you and you're just like in your room ignoring them playing video games. You're shitting yourself. Not yet. Not yet. If you watch the full clip, not the cut one being lobbed out by people trying to push a narrative, she was fine literally 5 seconds before and only started crying the second the police picked up the phone. I didn't ring the police. They did. They rang the police on me because, in their own words, he's so radical and he's really right wing. They blew it completely out of the water because they believe my idea of not wanting our native people to be demographically replaced is racist and extreme. The reason for this is because they have foreign friends and family who have seen my opinions online. This is what always happens. This is the problem. This is such a big problem, is white people know a handful of cool nons. And then they feel so bad and awkward about the whole situation, and it just ruins everything. This is the recurring pattern I see all over and over and over. It's like, oh, but I know a cool Muslim or whatever it might be. So you're just going to have to give up the country and let your women get raped and stabbed, I guess, because I know a good one. Women are just going to have to get raped and stabbed until they're all gone because I know I met a good one. It was okay, hold on. The reason for this is because, we read that. It was an emotional reaction to appease their social groups rather than understanding my political concerns. So no, I didn't get my dad arrested. My mom got him arrested by ringing the police, to which they had to act to the situation, which included watching the footage so that I could clear myself of wrongdoing. It wasn't up to me what happened, however. No charges are being taken because I'm not a cunt. He won't be in any major trouble. I actually do have a job, which I was using to save funds to move out after Christmas. All right, well, that's something at least. I'm in the process of being sacked from that job due to my politics, so money is not the easiest thing at the moment as I have been suspended for over a month. I had previously lived away from home whilst at uni and was allowed back to live whilst I saved money. All right, this is not like super pathetic. He's bringing me around a little bit. I wouldn't say I like him, but at least I'm a less judgmental than I was 2 minutes ago. My parents are actually Thatcherite conservatives and have almost always voted conservative. They just don't like the fact I am more traditionalist about my views and that I talk about demographic replacement. I was recording because this is a common occurrence. No, this is not the first time. This happens often to the point where I avoid talking to my parents because I wish to avoid conflict. Yeah, that's the problem though with like living there is you kind of owe them talking if they want to talk because it's their roof, their rules kind of thing. You know what I mean? The terms Nazi and fascist are retarded. If you track either of those ideologies with my beliefs, I fall into neither group. Yes, I have referenced Mosley before, but I do not fully align with his ideology. He had some good ideas, but many needed working on or scrapping. I am not homeless. I have a place to live for the meantime whilst I find a flat to move into permanently, which should hopefully be soon. Luckily, I have friends that will put me up and support me whilst I get back on my feet. No, I'm not going to lay a hand on my stepdad. Okay. The whole situation is kind of sordid. What has happened to white people? Hey, white people, what have we become? Let's take a look at ourselves, shall we? I'm not a violent person I'm sure he's glad. If you've seen Hugh, he's like really tiny. People call him the British Nick Fuentes. And he's also like very small. I'll show you in a second, but it's just funny. Like I'm sure his dad was really worried he was going to get assaulted by this little guy, you know? I posted the video because my mom was taking pictures of me to push a narrative. In fact, she was already posting about me on social media, making it up like I was a liar and horrible individual and all I wanted to do was be left alone. And no, I didn't dox them. My mother did that herself by posting about me on her business account stupidly.
Too many white people would rather go extinct than be labeled a racist.
Thank you, Omega Bacon. Appreciate the $3. It's actually $3. That's another thing that the widget needs to get fixed. Thank you for the $3. Appreciate that. He's small and gay. Yeah. The situation will happen more as my generation becomes more reactionary to the society we live in. I was not airing out my personal business. I was protecting myself from legal issues. You do not need to be a product of your parents' ideology. You can be your own person, and I will. I didn't want to lose my family, but this was long coming. And then he posts a text message he got from his dad. Thank you for putting that online. It proves to all those who have doubted us that we do not facilitate you. We do not agree with your abhorrent views, and we are not like you. You have cleared our name, dude. Thank God my in-laws are not like this, man. They could have been. They easily could have been. They don't really agree with me. They're just not hysterical freaks. You know what I mean? Thank God. Thank God that my wife's parents are not hysterical freaks like this guy's parents. What is this? Young women are the main target for propaganda because they're naturally more focused on group belonging and social harmony. This is like an old one, I feel like. So this is Hugh Anthony. He's in his new temporary place, and he's set up and he's streaming again. This is who he is.
I've gone full-blown tanky. It's the USSR hat. I am Yusuf Stalin. How do we deal with the top 1%, guys? Here's the bit. How do we deal with the top 1%? We play Black Ops Zombies. I've gone full-blown tanky. It's the USSR hat.
So I'm sure his stepdad's really glad he's not going to violently assault him. And for anybody doubting the gay thing, this is an article from Queerty that was published a month ago. This alt-right Christian influencer's gay DMs leaked, and now it's a whole mess. 22-year-old British talking head has recently gained traction for his Nick Fuentes-esque and Nazi-tinged rants on Twitter and X and YouTube, where he spewed his ethno-nationalist ideas and called for remigration using religion as a cloak for hatred. Ew. But it wasn't until Tuesday that the algorithm forced his content onto our radar. It turns out that before he went full Darth Vader, Anthony, identified as gay, posted videos dancing to Lady Gaga and sent horny DMs to other dudes, and the receipts just went viral. To be honest, it's a complex situation. Anthony did not necessarily hide his gay past on social media, admitting that he was in an abusive relationship with a man in one of his live streams, copping to being banned on Grindr. How do you get banned on Grindr, man?
My first time in London. In London!
Where are you coming from?
Soho, Cheshire.
Cheshire! What's gayer, Soho or your Grindr profile?
I don't have Grindr. I'm banned on Grindr, so.
You banned on Grindr? For doing what? Hello.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You're absolutely stunning, baby. What?
Okay, so Hugh Anthony's not banned on Grindr. He said, "I don't have a Grindr." What do you think? What do you think the guy whispered? What are the odds that it has something to do with underage? How do people get banned on Grindr? Why does my mind immediately assume it involves minors? I've admitted before I had a past. I was an immoral man. I was a lustful man. I was a sinner. I found Christ, and believe me that he gave me a miracle and he allowed me to be born again, try again, start fresh. These are from Asuka Groiper, by the way, because what happened was, for people who don't know the deep lore, Hugh Anthony went a little bit viral on Twitter when people were like, oh, look, the UK Nick Fuentes, and they posted a clip of him like ranting about Jewish influence in UK politics. And then what happened was Hugh Anthony was like, he shit talked Nick Fuentes. He's like, I don't like Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, he's like a stupid racist. I'm not like him or whatever. And so then the Groipers were immediately like, oh, hell no. And then it found out he was gay. So this is why you never go against the Groipers. Bruh. One of the men who leaked his DMs is a Jewish guy from America. Oh, it just gets better and better. I've never met in person. They're only attacking him because of his politics. Throughout the clip, he spoke from a place of moral superiority, criticizing others who still involve themselves with nudes and casual sex and drug culture and drunkenness, and reasserting his dedication to religion while never explicitly criticizing the LGBTQ plus community at large. All right. So that's that. That's the Hugh Anthony thing. And that's also going to be the show for today, you guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to everyone who sent in the donations. Appreciate the support. Shout out Vampire Frog for getting our issues fixed promptly. And gaming stream tonight. I think I'm going to play some Alan Wake. Or should I do a Magic Power Cube? I don't know. We'll see. Be back tomorrow morning with another show. You guys enjoy your Monday. I will catch you on the flip side. Peace out.